Hello and welcome to this Astranti video on the responses to our student survey for the operational level case study exam February 2021. So we've been through the feedback we received in this survey and picked out some key lessons to help to guide you in your own exam preparation. So we'll start by looking at the big picture in terms of the students' perception of the exam's difficulty, and we've broken this down into students who used Astranti study materials and those that didn't. So on these pie charts, the red area represents the students who felt the exam was more challenging than they anticipated, and the blue section, those who felt the exam was as they expected in terms of difficulty or easier. So we can see that a significant proportion of students did feel that the exam was more challenging than they expected, although this proportion is higher for students who didn't study using our materials. However, crucially, the point is that it's not just the study materials that you use. So you need to make sure that you prepare for your exam in a smart way and make the best use of your available time. So to help you to do this, we've asked students what they felt went poorly and also what they felt went well in terms of their exam and their preparation for it. So we'll start by taking a look at what the students think went poorly for them. So a key theme that we can pick out here is the importance of the proper revision of theory. Amongst those students who felt that the exam was more challenging than they expected, represented by the red bars on this graph, we can see that a huge 47.6% of people felt they should have revised more theory. This graph also serves to highlight the importance of time management, and this is something that students often neglect. Both groups shown on this graph had a major chunk of people who felt they should have focused more on this aspect, even those who felt the difficulty of the exam was as they'd expected. So make sure not to neglect time management in your preparation and also during your exam. I'll also mention that very few people felt they should have revised the pre-scene more or focused on their writing style, and none of the people who felt the exam was more challenging than they expected felt that revising these enough was the issue. Next up, we'll take a look at what students felt went well for them in the exam. And this again reinforces the importance of proper revision of the theory. It does sound obvious, but there just aren't any shortcuts for the case study exam, and you really do have to learn the material. To a lesser extent, we can also again see the importance of proper time management. A larger proportion of those who felt that the difficulty of the exam was as they expected did feel that they managed their time well during the exam. And linked into this is the importance of answer planning. Taking the time to consider where your answer is going and what you're going to cover in your response is really beneficial for your time management. And answer planning is something that people who found the difficulty of the exam was as they expected or easier is something that they did well. These points are broadly reinforced when asking students what they felt they should have revised more. So theory comes up as again something key to revise, and so too does time management, with answer planning helping with time management, and mock exams of course helping for overall practice. Additionally, there is 17.9% of people who felt they should have practiced their typing speed more, so this for some people could be potentially an area to focus on, especially given that you only have 45 minutes available per task to plan and write all of your answers. Meanwhile, if we look at the things that the students feel they could have revised less, we can see that some people felt that they should have spent less time focusing on the pre-scene. So whilst it's necessary to be very familiar with the pre-scene, you do get a copy of it in your exam, so you don't have to memorize it or anything like that. Further, we can see that 30.8% of people felt they could have revised the industry examples less. Now, the industry examples can impress the examiner if you introduce them in a relevant way in your answers. However, they are not the focus, so they're a great thing to include in your answers, but again, it's the theory and your application of that theory that is being tested. Some people felt they focused too much on the revision of theory. So remember, it's not just the theory that matters, you also have to contextualize that theory, again with familiarity with the pre-scene and the wider industry. So it's all about striking a balance. However, nonetheless, I will again highlight the fact that knowing your theory inside out will be of great benefit to you when it comes to your exam. So the first key takeaway from the survey is first of all the importance of properly reviewing the theory ahead of your exam. There was a big trend amongst people who felt the exam was more challenging than they expected, felt they should have studied the relevant theory more. Next up is the importance of proper time management, and again the key tip here is answer planning. Your planning time should account for roughly 25% of your total time for each task, which accounts for about 11 minutes for each of the 4 tasks in your OCS exam. Lastly, I'll strongly suggest using mocks to practice all three of these things. As with anything, the more you practice, the better you'll get, so make sure you dedicate some time to sitting mocks which mimic the real exam conditions. So this brings me to the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope it's been really helpful for you. So make sure to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also active over on Twitter and Instagram, so make sure to follow us on these platforms as well. In the meantime, I wish you all the best of luck for your studies and for your case study exam on behalf of all of us here at Astranti.